You are watching the Metro Icon Podcast with your host, me, Sean K, the Showman, and thank you so much for tuning in because this is a very, very special release of an episode because what is going down today is going to be very fun, monumental, and I'm super, super excited. Mojo is indifferent. He's indifferent, and he is just hanging out for the most. Say hi, Mojo. Say hi. Say hi. You want to say hi? Hello. Hello. Okay. All right. Go back to sleeping. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're tuning in to the platforms. Make sure you guys are checking out my website, www.theshowman.live, or just go to my Instagram, @SeanKDoItAll, to get announcements of various events that are happening. This is going to be a specially released episode, going to be happening and released a little bit earlier than the 8 p.m. mark on Wednesdays, which you can normally catch new episodes, because at 8 p.m., I'm actually going to be tonight in Hyenas, Dallas, doing a roast against the guest I have on the podcast today. That's right, me and JVT. But before I talk more about him, just know that it's about to go down today, and we will hopefully still be friends after this roast is done. Regardless, make sure you guys are checking me out on what's going on throughout the week. Tuesdays, you can catch me doing bingo karaoke at the Library Bar from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., what I did last night. And then Thursdays, it's going to be switching from bingo karaoke to something. It is Thursday Night Football that's going to be happening at Scout, and I believe they're going to be having me there, but more than likely we'll be just DJing for the Thursday Night Football game. So probably no more bingo karaoke at Scout on Thursday nights, but again, make sure you guys are following me on my Instagram to find the announcements of what's going down and, of course, upcoming shows in the future. This is going to be a very, very special episode because literally JVT, my friend Jimmy, came in and he also invited me to go against him in a roast. So serendipitously, with this episode coming out on the same night, me and him are going face to face, head to head, for the David Lucas Roast Club at Hyenas, Dallas. I'm super stoked about it. You guys probably heard on my previous episodes that I've been trying to get into doing roast. So this will be my first roast battle, and I'm trying to bring that heat and that fire. So until then, go ahead and tune into this episode. Here is my sit down with the one and only JVT before I go into his roast.
This stuff is really fresh.
You could do it all.
You can't
Do it all, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Metro Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Sean K, the Showman of Do It All Entertainment and DIA Media. And you know what we do on this show. We talk about the world of entertainment and media and the icons that live in it. And I will call this guy a social media icon. He is a dude who is a producer of a prominent YouTube show, Primetime, with Alex Stein, that I had the distinct pleasure of being a guest on 2 times. But we also created some memories along the way as well. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our guest, the one and only JVT.
What's up? Thanks for having me, Sean.
Yeah, man, I am very happy to have you here, and poured you a glass of this Evan Williams honey bourbon,
Hell yeah.
which I kindly asked you to not take a sip so we can capture your live reaction. So go ahead.
Oh wow, that honey's nice. That's smooth.
It is smooth. And now I'm recording on the audio end, so it's okay because I got captured on the video with my OBS. But either way, you know the logistics. Welcome to my humble abode. Thank you for coming in. A bit of a rescheduling mishaps we've had in the last week or so.
Yep.
But
thank you for working with me.
No, thank you for working with me, man. This is a two-way street for sure. So either way, man, let's get right into it, man, because JVT is not only the producer, but he is also a stand-up comedian. We have, even though this show will be released in the next 2-3 weeks, we have an upcoming show in the next few days on the 25th at Harvest Hall, produced by Gretchen Young. We got a fire lineup. JVT will be hosting. I will be featuring. Then we have Jamie Gravitt, and then our headliner, Megan King. So fantastic lineup, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm excited to actual real comedy show.
Yeah, I'm excited to host because it's so much easier just to tell jokes about guests coming or comedians coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, and that's usually the role that I like to typically play on comedy shows. Even when I produce and stuff, I've only headlined once on my own show, and I'm like, dude, I'm never fucking doing this again. But hosting is the one thing that like I just enjoy the most. I think you have a lot of opportunity. Well, have you hosted a comedy show before? Or is this gonna be your
I've
first?
hosted an open mic, which doesn't really count. But I mean, I've been to a million comedy shows. It's just you just start, you warm up the audience, you're the brave one. And then
well, the thing is that like I understand as a host is that you are typically the buffer. You know what I mean? Like you're the buffer before the show starts. So you're kind of shaking away the initial awkwardness of the crowd that like, hey, you're at a comedy show and you're supposed to laugh and be engaged and not think so deeply on what is said or be so offended on what is said.
Yeah.
So you kind of played the helpful buffer that helps to create the momentum for the show forward. So, but I think you're going to do great.
Well, let's see. I hope so too. It'll be fun regardless.
We shall have fun. And also, JVT picked up a new role as a semi-recent father. You know? That's right. How is daddy life treating you, dude?
Dad life's awesome. She's 9 months old. She started crawling a few weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
She said her first words. I missed it because she was on a plane with her mom. Apparently, she figured out hi and waving, and she just said hi to every passenger on the plane and just cracked him up. And she refuses to do it again. I'm like, come on.
Oh, shit, man.
I love being a dad, though. I don't sleep much. I don't have much of a life, but besides that, it's great.
But you look good. I mean,
thanks.
I don't think most dads usually develop like the deep eye bags and stuff like that after a while, and it seems like even though you're not sleeping much, it looks like you're.
Well, the only reason is because grandparents are in town, so I actually got a full night's sleep.
There we go. Shout out to the grandparents coming through in the clutch,
absolutely,
and following through when you just need to have your own time to do what you need to do.
Yeah, because my daughter, when she gets up early, that's fun for my parents. So.
Right. But good. Again, more power to them.
Yeah.
Let it be fun, right?
Yeah.
But coming off of that, you've been producing Primetime with Alex Stein for what? It was like a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Okay. And the journey's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey.
A wild ride.
Yeah.
Alex Stein, if you guys don't know, he is... I don't even. It's called like he's political satire. He's
a culture jammer.
They were a culture jammer. There we
Yeah.
go. He is willing to stir the pot a bit. He is
absolutely.
willing to he is a trigger wigger. Let's call it that. Yeah.
I don't know if I called that. Basically, he does two things. He likes to call out people in power to their face in ways that most other people aren't brave enough to. So obviously started with city council, calling out mayors and whatever for certain issues. Then he managed to run into politicians in public and call them out to their face on issues that no journalist would ask him. And then the craziest thing he does, which I'm not brave enough to do, he'll go to protests that are messed up and could be 1 versus 100 and get in their faces. And
I've seen that. I've seen those clips. I've seen it get physical, like like a lot of people responding in a very aggressive physical way, right? Which I'm like, listen, like I feel like once, and I think that is kind of his, I guess his know-how is like understanding the fact that like if he's able to bring people to that level of like real anger and aggression, he kind of automatically wins because he's fairly stationary in his like, and he's kind of like why are you losing your shit? You know,
a lot of the times he's just asking questions,
right?
Others sometimes he just like yells and causes a scene.
But the questions though are like triggering, like they're meant to be triggering to the opposition.
Because they know they can't answer it. Like for example, a few months ago when all college campuses were just doing pro-Palestine, he would just go into the mob and be like, do you think Hamas is bad? And that would freak them out, which is kind of weird because I feel like you could say, yeah, Hamas is bad. So, I think it helps that he's a big dude. He's like 6'3", 2 something, but so he can take on a crowd,
Yeah.
I would get my ass
But
kicked.
he still does look like a white boy from Connecticut. So I'm sure a lot of guys are like, I'm gonna step up to this motherfucker, you know?
Yeah, but no, he's got balls of steel for sure.
Yeah, 100%. That is undeniable. And we also had a moment. We'll touch on this briefly, but we had a moment when I was formerly on Honor Don't Care, but when we were recording at Library Bar.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Dude, still one of my favorite days that I ever recorded because I mean, first off, for me, it was like a really great honor that like you guys took up the opportunity that was presented. I think from the like second time that when I came on primetime, and that one was like I think that one was the episode where like I was playing a lawyer.
Yeah.
I was playing Alex's lawyer. And I'm like, okay, like there's no script. I'm like having to, just improv.
Never have a script.
Right, exactly. And then I remember recapping the episode and just like watching my face reactions, especially to like, let's call it the more racially driven like points with Darius.
Darius, R.I.P. He's alive, but we just don't really use him anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was such
It's a bad PR.
Well, it's more that he was such a wild card that we were just like, he was hard to rely on. But we still love him and we still talk to him. But yeah, he started just going AWOL in bits and we just like couldn't do it. But he was great. We love Darius.
Can I be honest about Darius? Just my honest assessment because I think he did come to the library when we talked to him.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem like he was kind of all there.
Yeah.
Like even to a general or normal like intellectual standpoint, that he didn't really hold the capacity to really be fully aware of the situations that he was in, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not sure because when he's kind of playing a character, but I've gotten him like one-on-one where he kind of talks about like, no, I really like messed up humor, and he talks about his baby mama and his kids and and stuff like that.
That
so
guy
I'm
has
just
kids?
like, yeah. And he's talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a mystery because we don't really know his past. We've had to like get stuff out of it. He has no criminal record. But he also but he also like we only accepts payment in cash, and we're just like, what is going on? But no, we love Darius, and he kind of gives off the simpleton, and I think some of it is sometimes it lacks common sense, but he's not like on the spectrum or anything.
So that was kind of like because I think a lot of people can kind of see or maybe interpret like him being on the show or his role. Like as being taken advantage of or someone manipulated because of his like mental station or whatever you may call it of whatever position that he might be in.
That's not a totally unfair assessment, but I know from behind the scenes is he comes up with those bits. And I've had to turn down bits. I'm like, Darius, that is so messed up. We cannot do that. Because he has the most messed up sense of humor. Like anything's on the table.
He really didn't give a shit.
Yeah, and then for the audience at home, so Darius is this black dude who's so funny that we would use as like a co-host and like actor on the show. And he just did not give a shit. We did the craziest bits with him. A few times we probably went too far, but it was stuff that he would come up with that I would tell him, Darius, we are not doing that. Like, so.
I mean, but again, it's like it also being like he's. I don't even call it. I don't know. It's hard to even categorize him as a co-host. I don't even think he was really had that type of responsibility. I think he was kind of like
recurring actor.
Yeah,
I guess.
but it was more pawn-like. You know what I mean? It was more pawn-like, and I think that's where the question lied because some of the comedy, or I guess the bits you would call it, were so racially provocative that like it just drove too much question. I'm like, does he not understand that like the level of comedy? But I mean, again, back to your point, it really just didn't seem like he just didn't give a fuck. Like he was like he will press and trigger and disappoint the entire black community with no apologies whatsoever.
No, we love Darius, and like that's not an unfair assessment. I can tell you that like we love Darius. Alex doesn't have a racist bone in his body. But his kind of comedy is...
Which also to the public is questionable, but unfortunately.
I mean, like, we have more we have more black people on our show than like the entire network combined.
Yeah.
Just because like we do just like kind of politically incorrect comedy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if we saw the bits this during the Olympics. We did bits. We did the Hood Olympics. We did the Hispanic Olympics.
Oh,
we
that's
did the White Olympics.
you brought Rudy Ventura
for
the Hispanic
Olympics. It was awesome. But like the thing is, like everyone on the show knows what they're getting into. They just kind of like, it's almost like when you're part of a Comedy Central roast, you know the humor's going to be a little messed up, so you kind of suspend your whatever. But like with the Hood Olympics, do you know who Charleston White is?
Yeah.
So he was supposed to be on the show. He mixed up the time, but his whole crew showed up except for Charleston. So we did it there. The funny thing is, like, they loved it. They had so much fun. And his I don't know what you call him, like handler, bodyguard, Anthony Dewberry. We did one where we tied the tennis shoes together and had to get it on a pole. And the funny thing is, he goes up there. He's like, I've been doing this my whole life. And he goes up and just hits it the first try. No one else could get it. We put like a pole weight in the back. It was so funny. Then we did the crate challenge. And
goddamn.
Oh, it was so fun. But like, it's kind of like bringing where we can relax and just laugh at ourselves, laugh at stereotypes. And, you know, the Hispanic Olympics, we did like the lawnmower 40-yard dash. And
well, I also, like I mean, from the clips I saw, first to the Hispanic Olympics, it looked like Rudy just held himself well. And Rudy does so well with like the comedy improv, just kind of going with the moment and the flow.
Crushed it.
And he crushed it. And then it was funny how like, Alex was like trying to go around the cone with the lawnmower, and then you see like Rudy like, and then he backs it up, and it's like it was like half the time, and it was just like the Mexicans knew what he was doing when it came to the lawnmower. But I think that the real like grassroots is that when it comes to like the socialistic viewpoint of people just generally looking at comedy and how everyone has this line that like you don't cross. Like the show really operates on a level of there is no line. And like I think everything should be freely be able to, talk shit about. You know what I mean? And I think that offensive comedy or offensive material is literally in the eye of the beholder anyway, right? And so
and here's the thing. If you're not a fan of that humor, that's okay. You don't have to watch. But I think humor is in the eye of the beholder. And it's an ongoing process. It's my first time formally producing. It's Alex's first TV show hosting.
Yeah.
So, we were just going all in. Some bits hit, some didn't. But I think that he has the freedom to try is kind of freeing. And I think we've definitely refined stuff a lot where we can kind of approach hot button issues, but not go wildly over the top where everyone's having fun and where no one's the butt of the joke.
Right. But like, I mean, again, another preface is the fact that like Alex, it's clear Alex is a very intelligent human being.
Oh yeah,
he's very highly intelligent and he's very aware. And I think one thing that I can personally state is that the character that he is producing on primetime really is vastly different from who he is actually as a person. Like off camera, like he's actually very, very like just easy to get along with.
Yeah, he's a gentleman.
Yeah, he's a really good dude. And so I just do remember though that when, like obviously his segment on Honor Don't Care at Library Bar somewhat went off the rails and kind of blew up a little bit. We had a great time with you. Darius was on and that was interesting. But then when he came on, it was kind of like he came like hot and ready to whatever I think John had said. And it was just almost funny just kind of seeing that unfold in a little bit. But it kind of blew up from there. And then what, unbeknownst maybe to Alex Stein, but very much known to us, was that our producer at the time, Hagrid, like he's a very left, like leaning, politically driven individual, like and even is politically affiliated in Grand Prairie to a lot of that, like the Latino, economic community department. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's like a government, like a nonprofit type of deal. But anyways, he's more or less and so like he was like, I do not want this motherfucker on the show. And
oh my gosh!
I'm like, we have to have him on the show. And then he just came ready, like locked and loaded for Alex Stein. And I just remember like I like lost it when he called him a Highland Park cuck, like out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah,
or
I mean, yeah. Alex doesn't take shit from anyone.
yeah, he does, right. And I knew that Alex Stein was like, but the problem was that Alex Stein didn't have any other response other than "you're fat, you're just fucking fat." Like,
yeah. Well, I'll say this. So the reason he got so upset is because I forget your co-host's name, but he basically kind of like started off by saying like your jokes appeal to your racist audience members, and Alex takes that very seriously. Like he was called racist, and like yes, we do tell racial humor, but again, he is not a racist bone in his body. And I've never met anyone who cares about his fans more than Alex. So he felt like he's insulting Alex and his fans. And I think that just really triggered him because Alex, he gives his fans so much access. Like any person who's a fan, he always like, yo, follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back. He gives them their phone number. He like lets them hang out, like calls them, like almost too much access in a way. I'm like, dude, you don't need to let a crazy fan have your phone number. He's like, but no, I don't want to let them down. So it came from good intentions, but I think that just like what triggered him and it led to the meltdown. I remember watching that happen and the bouncer came up. He's like,
it wasn't the bouncer. That was the general manager. That was Chris.
The GM. Oh shit.
that was Chris.
He was just
GM.
like, he's like,
but he handles security. You know what I mean? Like that man will like security will literally, let's say, de-escalate majority of situations that happen. But when it let's say it's a situation that like you got to become hard and get physical. He's the first to jump to the front lines.
Yeah.
And so. It's funny that you called him the bouncer, but it's like he takes that role very. But like I do remember kind of I think he was saying in the corner of my eye he was saying something to you, and he was looking at you just like saying something like you better get the fuck out of here.
Well, he was just like, hey, do we need to shut this down?
Yeah.
And I think with Alex, sometimes he acts like that as a bit, and sometimes he's actually angry, and it's impossible to tell the difference. Like sometimes he acts fake angry.
It seemed like though he was mad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but like I was like, is he kidding or not? But yeah, no. Alex had good intentions, and you know, it was unfortunate it blew up so much. But sometimes confrontational stuff makes the best content.
And I mean, regardless though, and like I think you know, I try to be like, yo, man, like. Regardless of what the fuck is happening right now, I still want to get to know you as the man, you know what I mean, outside your show. But he was like not happening. He was like, man, fuck this shit, this rinky dink ass fucking show. And so I was like, all right, well, I mean, and if there's no other conversation that's gonna, you know, progress or grow from this situation, then it's like at this point we have to
I just, you know, I think the other two came at him and he doesn't back down to anyone. So I get where he was coming from, but I know you at least had good intentions.
But and just to state my position, like I have literally nothing against Alex Stein. I have literally where I'm not going to. I don't adapt to any political side. I'm not a political person in general. Like I even literally don't even believe in voting anymore because I just think it's fucking pointless. I just think it's pointless. Like
I'm not far behind, and I work for a political network, but I'm just like, damn.
It really. I just don't think it matters. And at the same time, it's kind of like there's the votes, and then there's this fucking unknown thing called electoral college, and apparently they have the final decision and say on really who's going to become president, and then you just understand the conspiracy theorists and the higher powers that be, and it's just like, is the president really the most powerful person? There we go, most powerful person in the country. But
of course not.
Yeah, but like
we have a president who's barely alive.
Conscious. And like again, like I came from a blue state. For me, being from Illinois and Chicago, like I came from a blue state. But like after moving here, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you know what? I get a lot of why the red side does as well as it does, and I'm like, and to the point where like a lot of the positions where I'm like, I don't necessarily disagree too much on the thing, but I think there's got to be some sort of happy medium because I think there's so much in the country that operates within the grayscale between red and blue that there's really like everything is a position of you have to pick a side. And I just think that like there's so much of that's why I'm just like, fuck it, man, let's just get RFK Jr. with his non-vocal ass and see what the fuck happens from there. But either way, I'm probably still not going to vote. But we'll see, man, because you know, Now Biden's no longer in the running, and Kamala's trying to make a female Barack Obama happen. And so either way, we'll see. Let's. I don't want to talk. I don't want to have this become a political conversation because it gives me gas. So other than that, like I do want to talk somewhat because you pressed on Alex Stein, going to like city council meetings and do that, and you kind of have done that yourself.
Yeah, I've tried. No one can do it like Alex, but I've had a few that popped off.
That's is it nerve-wracking?
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, the last time I went, which I think helped so much, Alex bailed and didn't end up going, but I said, screw it, I'm just going to go. Mm-hmm. That made it a lot better because the other city councils, I've gone after Alex. Mm-hmm. And it's so awkward once he's done that I feel awkward and I'm like, shit, I gotta go. So he just...
Wait, have you followed up after? Shit.
It is so hard to just turn that part of your brain off. Like, it makes... But the spin zone is it makes open mics a lot easier.
So you've seen it translate to the fact that your open mic game has gotten stronger with the comedy you're delivering.
Yeah, because you're trying to make a city council laugh who legally is not supposed to emotionally react to you.
Yeah.
But we have a city council cam, and you can see people trying to hold back their laughter.
Is that a camera that you guys?
Yeah,
bring?
we have a second producer, my boy Brandon. He will show up with a camera and film from the audience. Or sometimes Alex just brings his own camera and just sets it on the table.
Oh, no shit.
Films.
And they allow that. That's kind of freedom of...
They're allowed to film a public hearing or whatever.
That's fair. Well, I mean, shit. Because, honestly, even for a bit, it would be so... I think follow through with a comedy bit as far as a on the street type of bit, talking to a general audience, but something like that, any type of government building, municipal building, I just naturally feel just uneasy and nervous.
Oh, yeah.
It's just weird. You never go in there for a good reason, I feel like, to be honest, so... but props to you guys because that shit is brave as fuck, to be honest.
Oh, it's nerve-wracking. Yeah. And I don't know how he does it because he does get nervous, but he just puts his game face on. He somehow turns all the shame off. The funniest one that he did recently went to Richardson, and most places only let you speak for 3 minutes, but the smaller suburbs give you 5 minutes.
Ooh.
So this was right after Biden dropped out, and so he wore a cowboy hat. And it was all the white dudes for Kamala, white women for Kamala. So he did gay cowboys for Kamala. But the crazy thing is, he's the most talented improv person I've ever met. He's literally texting Brandon and I, the other producer, 5 minutes before he goes on. He's like, "Shoot, what do I talk about?" And we just gave him a few pointers, and he turned into a 5-minute bit. But he spent 3.5 of the 5 minutes singing, and just off the top of his head, I love Kamala as I do gay stuff. And I don't know how, because I was watching it on a feed from my house and I felt awkward. I can't imagine how awkward that was, him singing for 3 minutes.
Props to the conviction, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To that follow through, right?
Yeah.
And that consistency, you know what I mean? It's almost like just maintaining the bit. I wear it proudly that, my comedy start was at Second City. I graduated doing improv comedy.
Oh, hell yeah. I didn't know that. That's awesome. So, my wife's from Chicago, so I know about that place.
Yeah, so and then I started doing stand-up after I finished Metro Icon, and it was end of 2021. So but improv though, stand-up I feel is it's for that individual that really is more than willing to go through the fucking fire of the most difficult art form that is known.
Yeah.
Improv, I don't care what fucking industry you're in, everyone should do it. Improv is just such a beautiful, fun, amazing exercise. So I love a good solid improvisation.
Yeah.
And also to that, I've done an improv show at Second City where it was a musical show where they had a piano player, and then whatever actors would start the scene, and after about maybe a minute 90 seconds, the piano player would just start playing a melody to whatever maybe theme that you might have, and then the rest of the scene until it gets wiped or blacked out, whatever, you have to sing
That's awesome.
the whole time. So like I've done that and I fucking had a blast doing it. You know,
Yeah.
I definitely want to bring that gene back into like the shows. Hopefully that I want to start reproducing again, just because new family dynamic, new circumstances. So you know, my priorities have shifted.
Yep, that doesn't.
You understand that, but I feel like though that you becoming also a new dad. Man, like your daughter's really just coming along for the ride for a lot of the stuff. I mean, I've seen you bring her into like bars, I think, and and they'd be like, you can't have a baby in here, dude.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I worked that into my stand-up bit, but when she was a month old, so a little background, when I knew I was going to marry my wife probably is ever since I was 22, every Christmas, I dress up as Buddy the Elf and hit every Christmas pop-up bar. And the first year we were dating, she surprised me with like a sexy elf costume and was like, I made reservations at every Christmas pop-up bar. And I was like, I can't believe I found a woman who would do this. Yeah, that was so.
I think you put this in your vows too, didn't you?
Yes. Well, that's a funny story. So yeah, in our vows, I talked about that and said like, I remember like you wore the really beautiful elf costume. We went to every Christmas pop-up bar. It was the best date of my life, and I was being sincere.
Yeah.
And the whole audience lost it.
Yeah.
Because they knew I was being sincere of something so preposterous.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't even trying to be funny. I was actually trying to be
Like very, yeah.
Yes, it was. Oh yeah, that was funny.
But like sincere to kind of like a like let's call it like cute and outrageous. You know what I mean? It's like unconventional, but like it's a personal product piece, but it's just funny to like an outside ear. So like I kind of understand it, but I think that like it's as many weddings as I've done. Like I've had a few of those grooms where like they would say their vows and then or maybe I would ask them post like you know at the reception after the ceremony and they're like. I'm like, hey man, so how was the ceremony? You know, like, did you feel good during the vows? He's like, yeah, man, people were laughing during my vows, and I was like, it was like I was trying to be really like heartfelt, and I get, you know, there's poor like I didn't think it was that funny, but like people were just laughing and some shit. I was like, hell yeah, you know what I mean? Like, get the laughs when you can get it, you know what I mean?
Well, they talk about in stand up like if you tell stories that are believable, they're more likely to laugh, and everyone knew that I was being 100% sincere because I'm such a strange human, and it was funny. My friends pulled me aside and said, like, Jimmy, your stand-up sucks. That was funny. Do that. I'm get married.
Fuck you, friends.
Thanks. And but anyway, so now it's an annual tradition. Every Christmas we dress up as elves. So my daughter was a month old this Christmas season. So we put her in like a tiny elf costume and went to a Christmas pop-up bar. And we sit down and the owner comes, hey, this is a bar. You can't have a baby in here. We don't serve food. And I was just like laughing. Like we got kicked out of a bar wrapping a baby. So we went to some coffee shop. Baby Tiffany immediately just threw up everywhere. And I'm like, all right, this is my life now.
Yeah. What do you
I got kicked out of a bar for bringing a baby.
Yeah, man. But then there was another clip I saw that you had Baby Tiffany and I think what was it like one of those Baby Bjorn little packs. Those like little front.
Oh, dad holder.
Okay, so the dad holder and stuff.
Or the tactical baby gear.
There we go. And then you tactically shotgun a beer while.
Oh yeah. So that was at Princeton reunion. So
shit.
I went to I played football at Princeton. The audience. So
what? No way.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was a nerd, and I also liked hitting people. And here, the stereotype that football players are dumb is true. So the fact that I had straight A's and was decent at football, they were like, Princeton was like, we will let you come to school here to play football. And I'm like,
shit.
Are you serious?
That's wild.
So, yeah, it was
What
awesome.
position you play?
Safety.
Oh, no way.
I drank my way into linebacker by senior year, though.
Damn.
But yeah, mostly bench, but I did play a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so Princeton reunions, people don't know this. It's the biggest party in America. It's actually the largest alcohol shipment in the country. It surpassed the Indianapolis 500.
Wow.
So 30,000 people come back to campus. They have tents for every 5th reunion, 5th, 10th, 15th, blah, blah, blah. You can come back any year you want. And all you have is a wristband. It's unlimited beer.
What?
Yeah.
Anywhere?
At any of the tents, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, and they had...
and Princeton pays for this?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So what they do, they charge like the younger classes like $60 because they come back in highest fashion and they have nothing else going on in their life, and it pays for the rest of their reunions.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so fun. It's just, and they have, famous alums come and do like talks and speeches. Yeah. Like this past year, it was Jason Garrett's 30th reunion.
Okay.
So people don't know Jason Garrett, former Cowboys head coach. He played football at Princeton.
Oh, no shit.
So he was at the Princeton football alumni event. They do like a 2-hand touch game, but got to hang out there. And then like Jeff Bezos will come back.
Oh, no shit.
I've seen.
I didn't even know Bezos went to Princeton.
Ted Cruz will come back. Brooke Shields. I'm trying to think other Princetonians. The only person who's not allowed to come to reunions is Michelle Obama. She went to Princeton, but they literally.
Why?
Because they said the security for a first lady would be such a logistical nightmare that it wouldn't be worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fair, though. I think it's fair.
Yeah. Which sucks for her because Prince reunions are fun.
Yeah,
but,
for sure. But again, yeah, I mean, like, you have to think, listen, dude, it's 2024, we just live in a day and age where it's like shit is just fucking unpredictable, what I mean? And then on top of that, like, you throw in a chaos of essentially what is like a fucking festival, you know what I mean? Like it's like a music festival or just like let's call it a beer binging fucking festival, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Michelle Obama's got, she's got priorities.
She can do whatever party she wants.
Does your wife ever get nervous to like maybe some of the like social or public bits that you do, or is she like just super confident and?
I don't always tell her details. So, for example,
baby, I'm gonna tell you what you need to know.
She's generally cool with it. She knows it makes me happy, but sometimes she's like, I don't want Tiffany bullied in school, and she's older. I'm like, we'll figure that out when we get there. Come on, but
yeah, I mean, you got a few more years.
Yeah,
I mean, before you have to, I think, really worry about that. But I don't think you've done anything that is like too unethical to the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that anything you've done would be worse than a child who has like a mom who does OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I just think that like a child, like a kid is going to have way more shit come at them for the mom who does OnlyFans than like you fucking trying to breathe laughs at a city council meeting.
Yeah, we'll try to cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
But I do have a funny story. So the last city council I went to, I was, the whole potentially male boxer in women's boxing. So I did.
It was a trans type of deal, right?
Well,
because I think the
it was a little
Olympics-
more complicated than that. So it was kind of an intersex deal. So it looked like a male with a hormone disorder. They thought it was basically like a biological male born without a dick, but so it was raised as a girl, and then it went through male puberty. So basically they had an unfair advantage, but it was kind of complicated. But anyway, I just parodied that at city council, being like, I am training for the 2028 Olympics for women's boxing. And I was wearing a jumpsuit. And as you can see, I'm clearly a biological female, and I zipped it down, and I'm wearing my wife's sports bra. And I did not tell her I was borrowing her sports bra. She found out when I posted.
Yeah.
And she gave it a courtesy like. She always gives a courtesy like. She doesn't watch half my content. And then like 2 days later, she messaged me with a screenshot. She said, "Thanks for telling me you were wearing my sports bra."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Sorry, I was just afraid you'd say no." She said, "Just please fold it." That's all
There
she
we
said.
go.
I was like,
There
I
we
know
go.
this is the woman for me. She said,
That's a real one. That's a real one right there. You know what I mean? Shit, like
was like, "You're the best."
shit could have been given.
Yeah.
But she's just like, just put it back where you get it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? We're just you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of that is a ride or die.
she's. I was reminded. I'm like, you are the one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you posted because I know you've been posting some of your comedy bits, but you posted I think a song like I don't know if it was a parody song or an original song, but you posted about the fact that your
My wife's a cougar.
Your wife's a cougar, but now she has a baby, so she's a MILF.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my new thing is I just do parody songs to the Frosty the Snowman instrumental just to ruin everyone's Christmas.
Okay.
And because I had one go I mean, I don't know if you define viral. It got 1.6 million views on Instagram. So after the
I
drag,
think that's viral.
yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Anything over 1 million, I consider viral.
Yeah.
Viralish. But it
Anything
was-
under is just it's
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's
But-
decent calamity.
but it was, I was making fun of the drag queens in the opening ceremonies. So I said, drag queen Olympics with balls just hanging out. Because one of the dudes allegedly had his balls hanging out. I think it was just a hole in his pantyhose, but it was still uncomfortable and weird.
But like, didn't they have that in the Olympics where like in the boxing there were 2 trans boxers?
So they were just biological males. They weren't technically trans.
Okay.
But they had the same kind of hormone disorder where they were biological males, but they identified as female. But they got banned by the International Boxing Association because they did like DNA tests on everyone, and they came back male with XY chromosomes. So, and they didn't appeal the result. They're like, you can appeal this if you want, and they didn't. And all the people are like, oh, you're bigoted, stop bullying them. They could take a DNA test tomorrow and prove that they're female, but they won't.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's sketchy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a.
And shocker, they both won gold. Shocker.
Yeah.
I know, just a crazy coincidence.
I mean, wait. So they won gold in women's boxing. Again, it's just certain things. I feel like, look, I am never going to fucking question anyone's personal, belief or just whatever they want to identify as. Fucking do you? You know what I mean? My thing is, I think that, and a lot of stand-up comedians, especially veterans, talk about it. Listen, if I don't know, I'm going to just naturally assume what the fuck I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as you can, I think any person that is in that position has to have less of a triggering emotional response and
Yeah,
a little
exactly.
bit and a little bit more understanding that society understands certain types of truths and principles, and you're gonna deal with whatever you deal with, but don't be fucking upset if somebody doesn't know your pronouns with zero explanation prior. You know what I mean?
Well, I think because victimhood is rewarded these days.
Yeah, or people seek it. People seek to be a victim.
It's a high to be a victim because it's a power thing.
And then, but man, there's certain things when it's just, there's certain things that are undeniable. And things like that, where yo, if you built like a man, there's no need for you to be competing in, no matter how you identify. If you're built like a man and you identify as a woman, I think it's even stronger that you compete in the male divisions and take out the males, right? And go after the gold, and you can be the woman who won the male division.
Yeah, exactly. It's
You know what
weird.
I mean?
There's never any controversy of the opposite, a trans male beating up the dudes, because biology exists.
It was just very interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's just very interesting because, oh shit, oh yeah. But yeah, man, because in society, from what I understand, I think it's pretty bad for a man to beat a woman.
Unless it's in the Olympics.
Right, unless it's in the Olympics. We're just speaking the open-mindedness of where it is. But again, do you world, and enjoy the life that is given to you however you want. So what were you doing when you graduated Princeton? Were you going right into media or
No. So it actually, I've always been kind of a class clown goofball, but I got a job at a tech consulting firm. It was kind of cool. They only hired Ivy League athletes. So a bunch of my teammates, we all got hired in together. So it was
privilege?
But basically it was like college 2.0. We all lived at the same apartment complex and yeah, it was great. But what started my media journey is I lived next door to these girls who were fans of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. When it was Rachel Lindsay, the first black bachelorette, she was a Dallas lawyer. A girl said, you should apply and do a guy version of the Elle Woods Legally Blonde Harvard video essay. And I said, that'd be so funny. So we just threw something together. I'd never uploaded a YouTube video, put it on YouTube. In 3 days, it had 10,000 views, and Bachelor Casting followed me on Instagram, and people were reaching out to me. And I was just like, and this was in 2017 before YouTube was really, really big. So 10,000 views was a
Well,
lot.
but YouTube's been.
I mean, it's been around, but
yeah.
like 10,000 views is like a significant number.
Yeah,
back
it's a
then.
decent number. Yeah.
Especially for someone who had never uploaded
And you
a
said
video.
2010 or 17? 17. Okay.
And I realized like I was actually pretty good at editing, and this was really fun getting that attention. So I just started making videos and had fun with it. And then I started doing. I was one of those weirdos who got on TikTok and pandemic because there's nothing else to do. And
That's what I did. Yeah.
And me and my buddy, we made TikToks together, and my buddy really took off. He got like 1 million followers in a year and a half.
Wow.
And I got some of that, and then I just found it like I loved it. I was passionate about it, and then I was always looking for people to do content with, and that's how I saw Alex was doing videos, and he was local, so I DM'd him like, "Yo, like, if you ever need someone, like, I'm happy to help." And so I helped him with some man on the street thing, and then he started going viral, and then I kept like editing his videos and helping him and adding value. And then he got offered a TV show, and he told me, he's like, "I want you producing it." And I was like, holy shit. I basically got to cut the line of people have to grind producing. And so I couldn't turn it down.
Yeah.
And
That's
been
awesome.
Yeah, it's been crazy, but it's been so fun.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and I think that's just awesome that like you kind of found like an unknown high, and then you were like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'm gonna chase this feeling a little bit," and then kind of just driven down this passion path that ultimately like brought you this really incredible opportunity that
Yeah.
like isn't given to somebody that would be considered an amateur.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I got a little bit of, this is where not to sound like a douchebag, but the Princeton degree definitely gives people the benefit of the doubt. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he'll figure it out. And
Yeah,
I went
yeah,
into
yeah,
it and
yeah.
I'm just like, oh shoot. Like, but I have figured it out, but I definitely was like, I have no idea how the media entertainment industry works.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I've been in the entertainment game, especially more on the live event spectrum, for half my life. But when it comes to media, I think that is just like a forum and a platform that is just like constantly evolving and constantly shifting, and the expectations are also kind of always shifting.
No, the algorithms change like daily, and by the time we figured it out, it changes. It's kind of like my newborn baby. Kind of like when we finally figure out how to keep her to sleep at night, she changes.
Yeah,
So-
right. Yeah, it's just, the routine is never the same. So it's like, but again, it's like, I mean, I've only had, I think I'll call it one viral video, which is on TikTok. And even to this day, like I still will randomly get people like, oh, they added your video to your favorites, and then they reposted a video using your sound bit, like the action of it, which I was pretty much just making fun of the wipe it down challenge.
Oh yeah.
They were in the wipe.
I know
wipe
the
it
girl
down.
who started that.
Oh, really?
A hot chick named Lauren Compton.
Oh
And-
wait, of First Date podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, shit.
So we had her on the show right before she signed with them, and we were like, "Hey, I got her booked on a show locally." I'm like, "Oh, sweet, like we're gonna hang out." And now she doesn't. She's big time now.
She's
She
so
doesn't
big
respond to
time
me.
now?
But I will give her. She got me in this like invite only stand up class that was like remote with these two LA comedians. And it ended with a showcase in LA that was professionally produced. And I like learned how to write stand up. And now I have a 5-minute professionally produced segment. So I do owe her a lot for that. So Lauren, you won't see this, but if you do,
No, she
Lauren
won't.
Compton.
Because this podcast does not get views, but we'll see what happens. after
just hot chicks are not the demographic of this podcast.
Yes, it is very true. And my fiance does not want hot chicks to be the demographic of this.
If you're a hot chick, turn this
Yeah,
off.
but we'll see what happens. You went to Kill Tony on
I
Monday.
tried to go.
Wait, but you didn't end up going, or you did go?
Well, I mean, I signed up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So listen. All right. So you went to Kill Tony. You didn't get on. Okay, but like this was your first time.
First time.
First time going. I'm going this Monday for my 12th attempt because I've worked it out with my wifey for me to be able to get at least one a month. And so, and that allows me just to be able to work out all my hustles. But I'm like, okay, we organize one Monday and make it work. And so this month was kind of tricky just because like, oh, school started again and shit. But, we talked it through and then, like, okay, figured out school pickups, blah, blah, blah. But what was the experience like for you? Like what were you, did you sign up at the mothership prior to?
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Didn't
signed
get
up
on that,
You
yeah.
signed up at mothership. We're hanging out at Poor Choices, you know? But how did you feel during the overall experience? What was it like for you? Did you see anybody that you recognized?
Oh yeah, I saw the comedian Ben Bankus, who's been on Alex's show a few times.
Oh, okay.
And then I was sitting next to this guy who was way too attractive to be a comedian. He's a pretty boy, and I was talking to him, and this dude has like 800,000 followers on Instagram. But he was freaking out. I'm like, what's going on? He basically is a dude who just like got viral doing bits on TikTok, and Instagram has like 3 million followers. And he literally took his TikTok sketches into a stand-up tour that he's doing. But he said, I've never done an open mic. I'm so nervous. I'm like, you're touring the country doing stand-up?
Kind of like Trevor Wallace.
Yeah, in a way, or Trey Kennedy, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's basically that. But he was freaking out. But I, it was good talking to him. And I had a few drinks in me. He's performing in Jacksonville, which is my hometown.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is way too forward, but I will do anything to open for you in my hometown because I'll just go there for free. And he said, we'll make it happen. And he hasn't responded to my DM. So, Comedic Cody, if you see this, check your message request.
Cody's a big fan of the Metro Icon podcast.
Absolutely.
He's one of the 4 followers for sure.
No, but it was cool though. I got to meet a lot of comedians, see kind of how the sausage is made, and they talk about the grind. That is a grind, doing a day trip there and back.
To Jacksonville or to Austin?
Or to Austin.
Yeah, okay.
And because there was
And you drove?
So thank God I'm a comedian, Jacob Cantor. He drove us. He drove the whole time.
Bro, that
there and back.
motherfucker has gotten picked 4 times.
Yeah, dude, he got picked 3 out of the first 5 times he got. So either
it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, he says he's like, yeah, I'm friends with someone who works on the Kill Tony crew, so maybe that's why. But I haven't talked to her since I've gotten picked. But yeah, dude, that dude is the luckiest man alive.
Luckiest fucking man. And like, I was like, if this is your first time, like, if you get picked on your fucking first time, bro, I feel a certain type of way when I meet a motherfucker where I'm like, I was like, getting to know them, and I was like, yeah, I was on Kill Tony. I'm like, okay, how many times? I usually ask, like, how many times did it take for you until you got picked? All the numbers are different, but if you tell me that, the first time I showed up, I got picked. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like instantly, fuck you. Because but here's the thing is that like, I'm in this position now where like, I'm trying to stay focused on not a result, but the journey, And so like, however many attempts, I'm hoping it's less than 17. 17 is my lucky number. And so I'm hoping it's less than 17 that I finally get my shot. If it's on 17, awesome. I just stay ready. But like when I'm there, the general experience, right? When you're like in a fucking bar with like over 200 comedians that are praying and hoping for a spot to possibly get destroyed. You know what I mean? Where like your career can potentially good, like from your feature, can go nowhere before it even begins. You know what I mean? Yeah. People have lost their jobs for just getting on Kill Tony.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That has been...
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. There's like... They call it a Kill Tony bump or bust, where like it can bump you or it can bust you. And there's a lot of people that have gotten picked and selected, and because of shit they said on Kill Tony, like showed up to their job the next day and they're like, hey, yeah, we saw your feature and we have to let you go.
That's wild.
People have come back. Comedians have come back for like, let's say whatever, their second feature or whatever. And they were like, oh yeah, I lost my job from my last feature. You know what I mean? Like that's a fucking real thing. Yeah. And so, I mean, for me, it's the beauty of working for yourself. You know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna fire me, you know? But like, I just stay ready. And it's funny though, because it's like my 1 minute, I feel like it's fairly the same from what I was always planning from the very first time I signed up. But I have re-manipulated, re-shifted, kind of changed up just some little verbiage and stuff like that. Because like, I don't care. It shocks me when people do their like 1 minute set and don't even, they're like, is it a minute yet? I'm like, bro.
Plan it out.
Yeah. Like, but again, it's kind of just like 1 minute is not easy to do. And then there are people who are complaining that like, well, I feel like 1 minute's so long. I'm like, bitch, you should not have signed up. Like, you know what I mean? So, but regardless, for me, I think the biggest premise of Kill Tony that it is a podcast, and so it really isn't matter as much how your 1 minute goes. Really about the interview afterwards, which is testament to my Nickens, Drew Nickens.
Drew Nickens, man.
My
We all want to be.
motherfucking guy.
He's literally going to be the high every Dallas comedian chases now.
Well, but here's the thing. I don't think that anyone's going to be able to have a monumental feature and growth like that. Like, to what happened on Drew Nickens' episode is unprecedented in the 11 years that show has been fucking putting out episodes.
It's been on 11 years.
11 years.
I only heard about. Was it in L.A. originally?
It was originally in LA.
That's why.
Yeah.
It
was originally in LA, and then they, progressed. Eventually, he was doing it and that's why, yo, whatever the fuck anybody wants to say, anything negative about Tony Hinchcliffe, that man is a fucking assassin and a G. He is an incredible host. And I'm sure as a host or a producer, all the moving parts that go in a single production, the scale of that production is beyond what most people can possibly imagine. And on top of that, he's dealing with all of the back end, getting that information and receiving whatever is happening in those moments to carry the show forward. I mean, dude, it's just, I have not seen anybody do it to the scale and to the skill set of Tony Hinchcliffe. He's just a fucking assassin. Honestly, even if I get on the episode and he's like, I fucking hate you, I'm like, I still kind of like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be honest, I just have so much fucking respect for him as a host and a producer. But he's also a testament of he never fucking stopped. The amount of times that the venues gave up on his show and Kill Tony, and then he happened to just get it somewhere else. And then he's producing Kill Tony and putting out these episodes in front of an empty fucking crowd.
Yeah.
And then through the pandemic, still fucking continued. That type of consistency is just, that's what the game needs.
Yeah.
In order for you to fucking really do it. And now this motherfucker just sold out Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? So you cannot look at that journey and that story. And I mean, I haven't seen every episode. I got to I was backwards binging. So I got to the low 300s. And I'm after that, I'm I get it. You know what I mean? Because it's funny when you're watching a show, and the production is getting worse, if you're backwards binging. But whichever case, I'm still gonna show up at least once a month and try and make it work, because I really have a lot of faith that I can make something work. I think you would do great too. All it takes is
getting lucky once.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, because I wear this tiger jacket every time, and I knew, man, if I get picked, they're gonna have a lot of material to work with. So I'm gonna do the tiger jacket, and then my 1 minute was talking about losing my virginity on my wedding night. So they would have a lot to work with, but that would make it funny. And I don't really care. You can't hurt my feelings.
And that's what you need to do. You have to be ready. Be prepared for anybody on that panel to give you shit. You know what I mean? And
I take shit for a living.
Right.
So.
Yeah, exactly. You know how it is. So but again, it's kind of you have to be able to roll with the punches and be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're not able to do that, don't do stand-up comedy.
Yeah. I mean, and going back to the show I produced, so Alex and I have tried to recreate kind of the bit with Tim Dillon and Ben Avery, his old producer, where it's a fake abused producer, where he tells every host, my producer's an idiot. I hate my producer, blah, blah, blah. And it's a good bit. It's fun.
Well, I believe you. What we're going to do right now, actually, because we're right around the 55-minute mark into this episode, what we're going to do is going to take a short break. I feel like you're getting maybe some messages.
Oh, I was just checking the time.
Okay, for sure.
I have to leave in 10 minutes. So.
Oh, do you?
Well, I have to be home by 2:50, and it's a 40-minute drive.
Then you know what? Let's finish out the episode. Fuck our break.
Okay,
so
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good, man. So Do you plan on going back to Austin or making another trip to try
At some point, it's just hard with,
with family and the baby?
yeah, job, baby.
Yeah, I get it. And so, whichever case, like, do you have any other? I gotta ask this because, so what does your wife do?
She works for United Healthcare.
Oh,
she's like an organ transplant rep.
Is she the one that's really bringing in the banging the bucks for the house?
She does well.
So, because I'm like, you know what, man, I look at when I see stand-up comedians and I'm like, how are they a homeowner? You know?
No, I learned a lot of comedians' life stories, and most of them are living in poverty.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do you do anything?
There are some that are baffling to me. There are some that are just fascinating. There's one guy, I don't think I can ever have him on the show because I don't know. I mean, and, all power to him, but I don't know if you know Ben DeMann. He is just a character. Like, I don't know. He would be a very interesting character to have on primetime. But, like, I feel like he's low-key homeless. But, like, he's such an estranged character. And then he, like, posts videos where it's kind of like he's in front of police officers and he's like, my wife won't let me see my kid. And I'm like, I wonder why. So, but like, there's so many there. I mean, to do stand-up comedy, but like, I feel like in Austin, you see that desperation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I feel like for me, when I come there, I go for the opportunity, but I love the experience of the journey. I love getting to know the new comedians.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when I like do come back now, because it's kind of been somewhat routine that like when people remember me, and that's interesting to me, because I haven't really built any other outside notoriety or whatever. But when they do look me up, I started doing this one thing though. Because they say that like, make sure you're inside Poor Choices by 8:15, and then any time between 8:15 to like 8:30, 8:35, whatever, depending on how long, depending on when they started the show, like, because a lot of times if it runs on delay, it might start at like 8:05, 8:10, 8:15, whatever. But I do this thing, I call it the call time countdown. So 8:15 is the call time. So then I go live on Instagram, and then I walk around and I'm just kind of vibing, and I do the Instagram video until they call the first name. After the first name, then I stop the video and I just do whatever. But I like just go, and in that time, during the call time at 8:15 to whenever they do call the first name, I'm going around and like seeing the comedians that I do know and the comedians that I don't know, or maybe comedians that have been featured on Kill Tony. I'm like, you can catch their episode, blah, blah, blah. And then when I post a video, I tag each comedian that I like engaged to. Just I'm like, all right, I need to like make the most of my effort as I'm there,
Absolutely.
So
But it's interesting you say that, like, this comedian's basically homeless. So we started a new concept on Primetime with Alex 9 yesterday. We did a show from the Dallas Public Library. We rented out the podcast studio. And I was not aware this is a thing in major cities. The homeless people hang out in the public library when the weather is too hot or too cold.
Yeah.
So there's homeless people everywhere. I had no idea. We figured this out last week. So we actually asked homeless people to come on the podcast, but we just said, we want to get your life story. We'll pay you $20. And it was actually a really interesting, because they all had different stories. Some of them were like very intelligent. They just had bad breaks. Some of them were clearly not all there, but it ended up being like amazing content.
Yeah.
But we were aware, like, we don't want to come off like we're exploiting homeless people. So we like helped them all out, and we plugged our Calling Dallas Homeless Charity. But yeah, I don't know, that just made me think of that. But it was, Alex's show is always adapting and changing. And that was something new that I think we really have a lot of potential. But the ultimate goal is we are going to get a group of homeless people to go with Alex to city council and call the mayor out to his face about some of the messed up things. Because one of the women there, she talked about how she couldn't get housing because they were giving priority to illegal immigrants.
Wow.
I was just like, that's actually messed up.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I'm assuming some of these homeless were actually American citizens. So
they're all American citizens.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's a legitimate gripe that would be kind of a shocking controversy, being which is like, a lot of people say like homeless or blah blah blah, but legal immigrants get to priority. But here's a woman actually saying that, who's actually homeless, That would be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot to say about that, and I think a lot to discover. I mean, there's more to know. I mean, because again, it's like I feel like for a lot of I'm from Chicago too, so the homos over there are just fucking a different level. I have a whole bit about it where like like Dallas homos are like so fucking timid and tame to compare to like Chicago homeless and stuff, because I discovered, and I've actually done this, but I've discovered that like if a homeless person is like walking up to you or trying to talk to you and you just go, "Not today," they leave you alone. They just leave you alone. They just don't like try to engage. Like Chicago homeless, it's like you ain't raising your voice at no motherfucker out there, dude. Like you don't know what they have on them. I've been held up on a train platform and asked to give money. Like there's been shit happen when it came to the homeless in Chicago, but they have fucking nothing to lose. They're fucking reckless. But looking forward to the crazy journey that this guy JVT, that his family knows him as Jimmy.
Yeah.
So, what's on the horizons? I think what do you see happening in the next, like, let's say year or 2 years?
Well, number one priority, I want Alex's show to do well. If that show does well, it only
does well. For you.
Rising water. What's the term? Rising sea raises all boats, all vessels.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm putting all my effort into making sure that show is successful, and it's really
you
fun
want to get a boat.
Well, yeah. I mean, but no, and like I genuinely love producing the show. I get to meet so many cool people, and it's a unique show where I get to be actively involved in content and the bits, but I don't have all the pressure of just like being on camera all the time. So it's really the best of both worlds, and so that's my number one goal. I want it to just keep growing, and we've had a lot of viral clips lately, so hopefully that keeps up. And then
Fuck yeah.
And then I'm actually starting to hit my stride a little bit with stand up. This is a really dumb story, but when my wife was out of town last weekend, I tried to live like a 25-year-old, and I went out for the first time in forever with my 2 single friends, and
it's not fun. Was it fun?
Not the next day, but during the time it was fun. But yeah, I haven't blacked out in so long, and this is embarrassing.
Oh, you got blackout.
Yeah, I was bad. I'm not glorifying this, but while I was blackout, I somehow like messaged this comedian who posted in DFW comedians that she needs openers, and I guess she saw my social media following, and I don't remember messaging her, but she asked for my number on Instagram. She called me the next day, said, "Hey, I want you opening for me." Her name's Kat Chen.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of her. She's been on Comedy Central, Netflix, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no shit.
Suddenly, while I was blackout, I negotiated the biggest deal of my life with stand-up show. So hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So, I'm starting to break and getting some gigs without Alex, because Alex does a lot of stand-up shows. He's nice enough to let me feature for him. He's always helped me out with that. But
I'd be interested to see Alex's stand-up.
So his stand-up, it's just like his regular show. It's unconventional. It's mostly him ranting. It's not like conventional stand-up punchline, but it's still so entertaining that people love it.
Yeah. So, interesting. Well, we have our show this Sunday, so I'm excited to be on that dynamic. But you know what? In case Alex doesn't know, just let him know that Sean K. the Showman has no qualms or issues with Alex Stein whatsoever.
I think he knows that.
Yeah, all right, cool. And
he probably won't ever come on the show again, to be honest.
No. I'm not on Under Care anymore. So,
okay.
So I wouldn't be on the show again either. So, but that being said, like, again, like I'm not like against if you wanted to even just do something creatively, content driven. He maybe needs a bald brown man for like a bit or whatever. Like either way. I just wanted to, put out there, Alex Stein, keep doing your primetime thing, Yeah. But JVT, who is here in the house, thank you again for coming through to
Thanks
this
for
show.
having me.
No, thank you for coming through, man. Honestly, man, like you got shit going on and a lot happening for you, which is awesome to see that success and growth. So I appreciate coming to this lowly podcast show that I.
This is a great podcast. There's no such thing as a lowly podcast. You're grinding. You're making good content.
My man.
Embrace the journey.
Embrace the journey.
Yes, absolutely.
As he said, and also You know what I mean? It's just a little good insight. So, as you probably don't know on how I end my episodes, I allow my guests to go ahead and leave something off to the world. You're going to look into that camera right there. But it's kind of a final statement, sentiment that you want to kind of leave off to the world. Sometimes I like to put in the image that if this could be the last thing that you ever said on video or audio, this is just kind of your last statement of the episode.
Oh, last thing. Okay, I got two things. Embrace the journey. Pursue your passions. You never know what might happen. Just me pursuing what I love without knowing where it's going. Now I'm producing a TV show and my life's awesome. And if it's the last thing I ever say, I'm a man of faith. Get to know Jesus and go to heaven.